Have you ever sat in silence, staring at your phone screen, waiting for a message you know might never come? And then the questions begin. What did I do wrong? Am I not good enough? Why are they silent? Listen closely. That's not love. That's you spiraling into the feeling of abandonment. And the worst part? You're losing your own value in that silence. A strong man doesn't flinch at someone's indifference. But you're suffocating from something you can't control, external validation. You're letting your mind be dragged by the nose, letting emotions dictate behavior, and letting the fear of not being cared for turn you into the weakest version of yourself. Why does a single message have the power to rob you of sleep? Why does someone's silence make you forget who you are? The brutal, simple truth is this. You've spent too long relying on being acknowledged, and when that acknowledgement disappears, you no longer know your own worth. Take a hard look. Have you ever changed how you text just to keep them around? Have you rewritten messages 10 times out of fear you'd kill their vibe? Have you tortured yourself for hours over a single scene without a reply? That's not strength. That's the result of a dependent, fragile, lost mindset. Hear this clearly. You don't need to do anything to make someone stay. If they want to stay, they will. If they choose to leave, let them. What you need is to stand tall. No weak reactions, no pathetic chasing, no begging for emotions. It's time to stop, not to give up, but to stop betraying yourself for even one more second. Because you don't live to please anyone. You live to become a man who cannot be shaken, no matter how deafening the silence of the world becomes. 1. Naming the crisis. No more room for illusions. A crisis doesn't always come with thunder and chaos. Sometimes it begins with something as simple as silence. A message that's seen, but not answered. A call declined without explanation. But what truly crushes you isn't what they did, it's how you responded. That sinking feeling, the anxiety, racing heart, cold hands. That's not random. It's the sign of a deep identity crisis. You think you're strong, you think you're in control, but all it takes is one person going silent, and you spiral. Why? Because for too long, you've tied your self-worth to someone else's reaction. And when that validation disappears, so does your sense of direction. This is no longer about romance. This is a psychological battlefield. You feel the urge to act, text back, call again, pretend you're unbothered, or maybe go cold as revenge. But the truth is, all these impulses come from one place: fear of being left behind. You can't handle being ignored, not because you need answers, but because you need to feel like you still matter. This is a kind of addiction to presence, attention, and significance. When it's gone, you panic like a man gasping for air. Now get this straight. You're not being controlled by them. You're being controlled by your own mind. Your mind can't stand emptiness. So it creates excuses. Maybe I said something wrong. They're probably just busy. I should be more patient. But underneath those rationalizations is the brutal truth. You're just a man, losing control, desperately clinging to someone's attention. You must call this crisis by its real name: emotional dependency. This is proof you don't yet have the backbone to face indifference. And if you don't stop, you'll keep trading your dignity, peace, even your identity, all to maintain a blurry connection. Harsh, yes, but real. Weak men fall into this trap constantly. They think they're loving hard, but they're just addicted to being needed. Don't let someone's silence become proof of your worthlessness. Don't let a few hours of uncertainty destroy your logic and pride. Ask yourself, why does an unanswered message send me into panic? Why do I feel the need to react instantly? Why am I so afraid of being forgotten that I lose my composure? The answer is simple. You've never built an inner core strong enough to stand in emptiness. A strong man isn't afraid of silence. He doesn't let things he can't control destroy his inner balance. He doesn't need to know why someone disappeared. He doesn't guess, doesn't wait, doesn't act out of impulse. And most importantly, he never places his identity in someone else's hands. The crisis you're going through isn't proof of failed love. It's a wake-up call that you're not ready to lead yourself. You're not the one driving your life. You're still too shaped by who shows up or disappears. Let's be brutally honest. If a single unanswered message can shatter you, you're not ready for any relationship. Stop clinging to the illusion that if I do everything right, they'll stay. The truth is, nothing you do can make someone stay if they've already decided to leave. This crisis isn't here to break you. It's here to give you a chance to rebuild on a foundation that doesn't rely on anyone's attention. And it starts with a decision. I will no longer act like a man begging for permission to exist. I am who I am, whether they stay or walk away. 2. Look back. Be brutally honest with yourself. It's time to stop and face the truth. Not about them, not about the half-finished relationship, but about you. Can you look in the mirror and answer this question truthfully? Am I really in love? Or am I just trying to prove I'm worthy of being loved? There's a massive difference between the two. One is rooted in strength, the conscious choice to love someone. The other is desperation, the behavior of a neglected child desperately seeking approval. Be honest. Stop lying to yourself. Every time you bend your words, compromise your values, or adjust your behavior just to keep them around, you're selling yourself out. You're abandoning the truth that real love doesn't require begging, pretending, or shrinking yourself to stay. You're not tired because of love. You're tired because you're playing a role. You act like everything's fine when you're in pain. You pretend to be easygoing when inside you're breaking. You try to be the chill, understanding guy when in reality you're being dominated, manipulated, and slowly erased. Why are you living like that? Why do you enter relationships with the mindset, as long as they're happy, I'll be okay? Have you ever asked yourself, when did I forget who I am? When did I stop speaking up for what I want, just to avoid losing them? When did I become a mirror, reflecting their emotions while losing all trace of my own identity? Don't make excuses like, I do it because I love them. That's not sacrifice. That's a lack of self-respect, disguised as love. If you have to shrink yourself to be accepted, that's not love. If you have to strain just to be tolerable, then you don't need that love at all. The truth is, you've gotten used to tiptoeing, second-guessing, trying to do everything right just to avoid upsetting them. But you don't see it. A real man doesn't guess. He communicates clearly, sets boundaries, and loves from a place of equality. And you're still playing emotional roulette, still repeating the same loop. Silence, anxiety, texting, waiting, disappointment, trying harder, like a hamster on a wheel running nowhere. You need to pause. Not to run away, but to observe. Watch how you react to rejection, to being ignored, to not being someone's emotional center. In those moments, are you still yourself? Or just a chaotic version of yourself, willing to do anything to avoid the sting of abandonment? Let's be harsh. Many men aren't really in love. They're just trying to heal childhood wounds. They approach women like lost boys looking for mothers, seeking comfort, attention, validation. But women aren't your therapists. They don't exist to fix you. They have the right to walk away, and you have the responsibility to stay standing. If you can't do that yet, don't get into a relationship, because you'll only bring chaos, anxiety, and mutual manipulation. You don't have to become cold or emotionless, but you do need to be clear-headed enough to see this. Every time you abandon your principles to keep someone, you're digging a grave for your self-respect. Start with honesty. Write it down. Say it aloud. Look directly at the weak part of yourself you've been hiding. Admit it. I'm afraid of being abandoned. Admit it. I've been living just to be accepted. Admit it. I've traded myself away just to feel loved. Then ask yourself, can I tolerate this for even one more day? If the answer is no, then congratulations. You've just taken the first real step to becoming a man of value. No more begging for affection. No more buying acceptance. No more pretending just to survive. You are who you are. No more pretending. No more guessing. No more pleading for anyone's presence. And from that exact moment, you begin reclaiming control over your life. 3. Expose the pattern. Stop repeating the same wounds. Have you ever wondered why you keep falling into the same emotional traps, feeling the same disappointments, even when the people and situations are different? Today it's her not replying to your message. Yesterday it was your ex going cold. Last week someone new suddenly changed. And each time you tense up, overthink, try to find what went wrong, try to fix it, but the outcome never changes. You're always the one left behind, hurt, confused. The reason isn't them, it isn't the situation. It's a psychological mechanism silently running inside you. The repetition compulsion. Psychology calls it compulsion to repeat. It happens when your mind is wounded in the past but never healed. Instead of moving on, you unconsciously recreate the same emotional scenario over and over again. And the worst part, you don't even realize you're doing it. You think, this relationship will be different. You believe, this time I'll have control. You hope, if I'm careful enough, they won't leave. But in truth, you're walking right back into the same trap. You continue acting like someone on edge, trying to please, trying to guess their thoughts, trying to save a situation that's clearly collapsing. Have you ever looked back at what you've done, suppressed your true feelings just to keep things pleasant? Avoided asking clear questions because you feared they'd get uncomfortable? Swallowed pain in silence just to keep the peace? Listen carefully. You're not in love. You're reacting. You're reliving an old emotional script. The script of someone who always has to fight to be chosen. And that's why the ending never changes. No matter who you're with, you end up losing. Not because you're not good enough, but because you're playing the wrong game. You're using outdated tools to solve a problem that needs a different approach. The more you try to get it right, the more you trap yourself in the submissive role. The more you try to understand them, the more you forget to understand yourself. The more afraid you are of losing them, the more you lose yourself. This pattern can follow you for life, unless you identify it, name it, and break it. Step 1. Recognize it. Every time you feel anxious over being ignored, stop. Don't text, don't guess, don't react. Ask yourself, is this feeling coming from now or from an old wound? Chances are you're not reacting to the present moment. You're reliving the feeling of being abandoned, forgotten, made to feel unimportant. Maybe by a parent, maybe by your first love. And now your mind is mixing past with present, and you're reacting unconsciously. Step 2, name it. Say it clearly. I feel abandoned, I feel insecure. But I know this is an old pattern and I don't have to obey it. Only when you name the emotion for what it is can you choose not to follow it. Step 3, break it. You must behave differently. If you used to text back and try to fix things, this time stay silent. Not out of revenge, but out of principle. If you used to shrink yourself, this time speak up. Not to argue, but to set boundaries. You must become a different man. A man who doesn't live by reflex, but by conscious choice. A strong man doesn't let the past hijack the present. He doesn't act to avoid pain, he acts to express identity. He doesn't flee from emotion, he faces it, analyzes it, and decides who's in charge. Do you want to break the cycle? There's no easy way. But there is one way. Stop, observe, choose differently. Remember, The scariest thing isn't rejection. It's unconsciously reliving a life of pain, while telling yourself you're trying your best. And if you don't change, you'll stay stuck in a game you don't understand, and always lose. But if you wake up, today could be the last day you ever live inside that psychological trap. The choice is yours, but you can only choose if you dare face the truth. 4. The hard truth, but you must accept it. There are truths no one wants to hear, but if you're a man with even a shred of self-respect, you must face them. Truth 1. You can love wholeheartedly, treat her with kindness, be genuine in every act, and she can still walk away. No warning, no explanation, no fairness like you hoped for. She just disappears. And your first reaction? Anger, self-doubt, collapse. You start searching for answers. Why? As if knowing the reason will somehow ease the pain. But it won't. That's just a trap to pull you deeper into helplessness. You need to understand this. Life doesn't operate by the rules of emotional fairness. No one owes you love just because you're good. No one is obligated to stay just because you tried your best. That's the truth. And yes, it stings, but it also frees you. Because as long as you cling to the illusion that, if I'm good enough, they won't leave, you're still giving someone else the power to define your worth. You're good, not to keep someone. You're kind, not to earn love. You love deeply, not to get something in return. You do all that because that's who you choose to be. Nothing more, nothing less. And if they still leave, then let them. Not because you gave up, but because you've grown strong enough to no longer need anything from someone who chose not to stay. A grounded man doesn't measure his worth by who stays or leaves. He doesn't say, I love you, so you must stay. He says, I love because I'm capable of love, but I won't lose myself to keep anyone. Truth number 2, acceptance is not surrender. Many people confuse the two. They think letting go means weakness, failure. It doesn't. Letting go is the act of a strong man who knows when something no longer serves him, it must be left behind. You let go, not because you stopped loving. You let go because you've come to understand. Love alone isn't enough. There must be mutual choice. There must be shared values. There must be principles to walk together. No one can walk forever alone and still carry someone else. Truth 3. You can't control anyone except yourself. You can't force them to reply. You can't make them miss you. You can't control their moods, their time, their emotions, or their decisions. And if you're still trying, texting again, making them jealous, pretending you're fine, acting busy, then hear this. You're acting out of weakness. You're not acting from strength, but from fear. Fear of loss. Fear of being forgotten. Fear of not being enough. But the more you fear, the more emotions control you. And when emotions take the wheel, men lose direction. Wake up. Right now. What is acceptance? Acceptance is knowing what no longer belongs to you and no longer chasing it. Acceptance is giving others the freedom to choose while holding on to your self-respect. Acceptance is facing the brutal truth that not everyone you love will stay and not everyone who leaves is wrong. The world doesn't revolve around your emotions. Others weren't born to make you happy, and the sooner you realize that, the sooner you'll reclaim control over your own life. Starting today, stop chasing. Stop trying to prove your worth. Stop holding on to the false hope that if I try harder, they'll come back. If they come back, great. If they don't, you're still you, still standing, still whole, still valuable. Because what you're building isn't just a relationship, it's yourself. A real man doesn't crumble when rejected. He doesn't panic when met with silence. He doesn't shatter because someone no longer loves him. That man keeps moving, calm, composed, unshaken, because he knows the only thing truly worth holding on to is his own dignity. 5. Choosing not to react. This is true strength. Reaction is instinct. Not reacting is strength. In that moment when you've been seen but left unread, what do you want to do? Text again. Ask why. Express your feelings. Complain. Do something, anything to hold on to the fading connection. But every one of those actions, whether conscious or not, sends a clear message. I'm being controlled. Not by them, but by the insecure emotions inside you. Weak men can't handle silence. They react out of fear. They text because they can't stand being invisible. They behave like machines. Anytime there's emptiness, they rush to fill it. When things go quiet, they panic and make noise. But here's the truth. Strong men don't rush to fill the void. Strong men stare into it and stay still. You need to understand this. Reacting isn't always a solution. Sometimes it's just a form of self-humiliation. The more you try to be seen, the more invisible you become. The more you beg for a reply, the more ordinary you look. Why? Because the other person senses your fear. And a man who doesn't respect himself always radiates the energy of someone asking for permission to exist. You must stop. You must choose not to react, not because you don't care, but because you are in control of yourself. When you stay silent in the face of silence, you are in control. When you don't act on impulse, you dominate the situation. When you accept reality without needing to run, you've grown up. Don't confuse not reacting with weakness. Not reacting doesn't mean you don't feel pain, or disappointment, or need answers. It means you know all those things, but you choose not to let them dictate your actions. Silence is a test. It says nothing about them, but it says everything about you. Can you hold your posture? Can you breathe evenly while the storm brews inside? Can you let them go and still remain yourself? If you need someone to text you back so you can feel valuable, the truth is, you're not truly valuable yet. You're just borrowing it. A real man doesn't need to react to prove he's alive. He lives by actions, by principles, and by stillness within. Can you do that? Think back to all the times you reacted emotionally. You sent that message and regretted it. You complained and felt pathetic. You faked a smile and realized you were performing. You lost energy and your self-respect. Why repeat that again? This time, choose differently. Stay silent, observe, hold your posture. If they come back, you know you didn't beg. If they don't, you're still whole. You lost nothing. You can't control others, but you can control your fingers from typing one more message. You can't force someone to love you, but you can decide not to lower yourself just to get attention. The true power of a man isn't in muscles, money, or loud words. It's in his ability to control himself in emotional storms. When you choose not to react, you send a message to the world. I am not a slave to emotions. I am the one in control. And from that place, you start to see things clearly. You see who's sincere and who's playing games. You see which relationships are healthy and which are manipulative. And most importantly, you see yourself clearly, not as a man begging for emotions, but as a man building a solid foundation for lasting confidence. Starting today, try this exercise. When emotion rises, count to 10. Breathe deeply. Don't react, don't text, don't perform. Just stand still and listen to your own heartbeat. You'll realize there's nothing to fear. You won't die from silence. You'll just grow stronger. And every time you choose not to react, you carve a powerful truth into your mind. I'm in control. I lead. I don't need permission to be myself. That is ultimate freedom. And that is the real definition of masculine strength. 6. Action. Forging inner masculine strength. Waking up is one thing. Acting on it is what defines who you become. You can read hundreds of theories, watch thousands of self-development videos, but if you don't take action, you're still the same weak, insecure, dependent man you were before. And no, action doesn't mean winning her back, becoming more attractive to your ex, or making her regret leaving. Absolutely not. The action you need is the kind that turns inward. The action that rebuilds your inner core, because you didn't fail because she left. You failed because your inner world was too fragile to handle the storm. Masculine strength is not something you're born with. It's forged through discipline, through confrontation, through an unshakable commitment to never betray yourself again. So, where do you begin? 1. Write letters to your emotions. Talk to yourself honestly. Every day, your emotions pull you like a puppet. Worse, you don't even notice. Write a letter to your anger, to your fear, to the feeling of abandonment. Not to complain, but to unmask the emotions that have been controlling you. Write things like, "Dear fear of being forgotten, I see you, I understand you. But from now on, I'm the one deciding how I respond, not you." Write to name what you've been running from. Write to turn the fog into truth. Write to take back the wheel from primitive, reactive instincts. 2. 5 minutes of mindful breathing. Restore inner order. You react like a machine, not because you're bad, but because you've never learned how to sit still with yourself. Every day, give yourself 5 minutes. No phone, no music, no distractions. Just sit. Close your eyes. Inhale for 4 counts. Exhale for 6 counts. When emotions rise, don't run. Whisper, "I'm angry. I'm anxious. I feel unseen." Just recognize. No judgment, no reaction. Only when you can stand still in your internal storm are you ready to lead in the world outside. 3. Set clear boundaries. No more compromise with vagueness. From now on, live with principles. They ignore you once, note it. Twice, speak up. 3 times, walk away with no regret. You no longer live to be understood. You live to express your identity, clearly, firmly, without compromise. No one has the right to keep you in limbo. No one gets to come and go from your emotions like a hotel guest. You are a fortress, not a waiting room. 4. Commit to 30 days of no impulsive reactions. Set a 30-day challenge. Every time emotions flare, don't text, don't call, don't jump on social media to make waves. Just write down, why do I want to react? Is it coming from my core values? If I act on it, am I betraying myself? 30 days, not to suppress, but to train your emotional muscles. Every time you resist emotional temptation, you reinforce your masculine foundation. 5. Build your personal value system. Live by your inner compass. Write this down. 5 things I will never compromise on. 5 behaviors that make me respect myself. 5 types of people I will not allow into my space. Not everyone is worthy. Not every situation deserves your presence. You can't move forward if you don't know where you stand. And you can't live with strength if you don't know what your values are. Final word. Don't just feel strong. Become strong. Strength doesn't come from positive thinking. It comes from taking actions that break your old patterns. Actions without instant rewards. Actions driven by the commitment to never return to that weak, needy version of yourself. No one can do this for you. No video, no article, no advice can replace the discipline you set for yourself. Starting today, train. Starting today, own your choices. Starting today, lead yourself. Don't be a victim of emotion, because no woman is worth the price of your dignity, and no pain is greater than the pain of abandoning yourself. 7. The Awakened Man's Declaration. I don't need to control everything. I only need to never betray myself. This isn't a motivational quote to hang on your wall, it's a survival declaration. For the man ready to break free from the cycle of emotional weakness, you cannot control others. You can't force them to stay. You can't command their love or emotions. And if you keep trying, you'll live in constant frustration, confusion, and emotional disarray. But there's one thing you absolutely can and must control: your loyalty to your core values. Do you hold your principles no matter what? Do you act from reason, not impulse? Do you have the courage to stay silent when needed and to walk away when necessary? Being awake doesn't mean being emotionless. Being awake means that no matter how deeply you love, you don't let emotion blind you. No matter how much it hurts, you still choose to act from logic, not as a victim, not as someone who lets feelings dictate their dignity. Being awake means knowing when silence is strength, not surrender. When walking away is self-respect, not failure. When taking action is about principles, not fear. Awareness doesn't make you cold, it makes you untouchable by manipulation. Every time you want to scream, text again, cling to something slipping away, remember this: I still have myself, and I am not allowed to abandon that man. This is a declaration to live by, to breathe by, to move forward, without collapsing, without dependency, without betraying who you are. Because when the world turns its back on you, the one person you are never allowed to lose is yourself.